So why don't affirmations work for everybody? Hey guys, it's John out here on the back deck enjoying a breezy evening, getting overcast. It looks like it may rain on me coming up here soon. A little bit of blue sky that way. But I'm sitting out here drinking my root beer, enjoying the time talking to you. Why don't affirmations work for some people? There's a very specific reason why. The word affirmation means I'm shoring something up I have no confidence in. Why would you need to affirm it if you believed it? I believe in declarations, not affirmations. But why don't affirmations work for some people? Because the ones that it actually works for transforms from a process of affirmation to a belief that it's happening. They actually begin to believe that it's happening. They start to create it happening. They start to shift their belief. And when their belief comes in alignment with the outcome, they experience it. Most people never get there. And I say most people never get there because they're in the process of affirmation. They're constantly trying to affirm something, but it's affirmation. They're not confident because they feel like they need to do a process of doing it over and over and over and over and over and over again until it happens. Thoughts, words, and deeds create. There's an old joke, and I'm sure I've told it before, but it's the joke of the Catholic guy going to mass, and he sits down and he prays, "Dear God, please just let me win the lottery." He doesn't win the lottery that week. Comes back the second week and he puts his hands together. "Dear God, please." He says, "You know what? When my wife got sick, I stayed a good Catholic. I was with you. I never left. I'm a good Catholic. Please just let me win the lottery." And he doesn't win the lottery that week. He comes back the third week and he says, "Oh, dear God, even when my wife got sick and then when she eventually died, I never left the faith. I was always a good Catholic. I was always very good." And suddenly this booming voice comes down from heaven and says, "Bob, do me a favor and meet me halfway. Buy a ticket." The idea of believing it's happening enough to start taking actions, start believing that it's happening, start to put things into play, start to act as if it's happening. Thought, word, and deed. People who are doing affirmations are putting time in the process of affirming rather than the process of creating it into their experience. When you affirm something, all you're doing is affirming. And what you're affirming is the fact that you don't have it in the now. I am receiving means it's coming into my now. It means it's happening in my now. And the people who affirmation works for are the ones who believe the affirmation is working. And what happens, they get to a point where because they're now believing it's working, they start to see evidence of it. And then because they see evidence of it, their faith builds. And once their faith builds, it comes in faster, more evidence comes. Next thing you know, bam, they have the experience. But it's only because they shifted out of affirmation and into belief. And the people who never make that shift into believing it's happening now are the ones who never have their affirmations work for them. It really comes down to understanding that affirmation, law of attraction, manifestation, all that stuff has become almost a trope in the world because it fails for most people. And all of those things is the process of creation. It's creating. In fact, years ago, there was many of you who are my age will know the old commercial, "Where's the beef?" It was I think it was Wendy's or Arby's or something. I forget which one it was. And they come up to the counter and they get a burger from the competitor, and it's a tiny burger, and the old lady says, "Where's the beef?" And it gets to be this funny thing. Well, there came a point where that commercial been so played out that Frank Perdue, the chicken manufacturer, had a picture ad in magazines where Frank was standing there holding up a big roaster chicken. And he's looking at the camera and he says, "Who cares where the beef is?" Right? The ad had played itself out. It had played itself out to the point where it was no longer an effective ad because it had now become a meme. Of course, we didn't do memes like that back in the day, but it had now become a trope. When you look at manifestation, manifesting abundance, practicing gratitude, there's a commercial on television right now. It's the insurance commercial with Flo and Jamie. I forget what the company is, and Flo is standing there by the lake and with this guide. He's talking about how beautiful the lake is and all this stuff. And then he says, "Yeah, I wanted to make sure I really appreciate this while before it gets found and all these people start to." And suddenly hears this voice behind him say, "Are you guys done yet?" And he turns around and they walk away. And the lady comes up to you with a big old selfie stick and a camera. She says, "Hello, fans. You know, I've just found this beautiful lake out here. I'm out here practicing gratitude, manifesting abundance." She actually used those terms in the commercial because they have played out to the point where people just think of them almost as a joke now, right? Because those terms have played out. It's when we start to think of the idea of affirmation, it gets played out. You know, people start to affirm, and over time, they see it not happening, and they just lose faith that it can happen, and they never get faith that it is happening, and so it doesn't happen. So it comes down to the reality of it is you have to declare it into your life and believe it is happening. And the interesting thing is the more you can release the idea of needing to pray every day for it or affirm it every day, and just get into the simple belief that you are creating the experience into your life and believing it that has happened, you've just reduced the creation time because now you don't have the process of affirmation or prayer to get there. It literally is just I am declaring, right? And what happens is your creation time happens faster. The majority of my creations happen within a few hours. I start to see results, either it coming into my experience or something changing, or sometimes it just plain happening. But I have reduced all of the processes and methods and modalities down to simple ask, believe, receive. And I don't even say ask anymore. I just say believe and receive. I declare it into my life and I believe it's happening, so it happens. I declare it into my life. And that's the point of this. Affirmations don't work for some people because they never get to the place where they believe it. And affirmations work for some people because they transition out of the process into the belief. And so if you really want to change your life, come back to the space of saying, I am declaring my life. When you pray, believe you shall receive and you shall. You can ask mountains to move, it'll move. Nothing's impossible for you. It doesn't say nothing's impossible for you if you do all of these various affirmations in certain sequence for a certain length of time. It doesn't say any of that. It says if you have faith. And I have watched people heal themselves almost instantaneously within an hour of very traumatic things simply by taking the belief. Simply by taking the belief. And the key is then to hold the belief, to know it's true, live into it, and watch your world shift in dramatic ways. That's how you create in your life. Declare, believe, and receive. I am having this. Make a choice. Believe it's happening and watch it happen. And that's my thought on this. You guys have a great day. And I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.